All right. This is going to be move left's fight guide, strategy guide for Mythic Bandit. It's going to be a little bit different than the other guides, which is why I'm making a video. Um, the amount of damage that everybody can do has gone up significantly, and the push timing of the fight is kind of adjustable. A lot of the guilds who have been killing it on Reclear or killing it recently are adjusting to the same strategy that we are. There just aren't really guides out on it and not a lot of kill videos on it yet, or not super easily accessible. But the biggest difference for us is going to be that instead of doing the 6 assistant strategy, we're doing 5. Um, what this does is that it eliminates the most difficult ad set from the fight. So the fixate ads that you cannot CC will be completely gone. We won't have to do them at all, which simplifies things. It increases boss damage. It gives us less wipe conditions, makes our fight a lot easier, and lets us focus on things that are more important. We don't have to talk about one mechanic. We don't have to do the mechanics, so it makes our lives easier. The only difference is, well, not only difference, but the big difference for us is going to be that our damage needs to be higher, which means we will need to optimize cooldowns. If you are somebody who likes to look at the fight beforehand and kind of see what what mechanics or what timings you should be pushing your CDs at, or what ad sets and stuff, make sure when you're looking on the on like somebody's logs that they're pushing at a similar time as us. That time would be around 5 minutes rather than the regular 5:40, 5:30 push time. We'll be in P3 for a minute and a half max before we hit the enrage. The enrage kills you instantly, so once we hit it, we die. But we'll be pushing hopefully between 450 at the earliest and 5 minutes, 5 minutes 10 at the latest. So if you are looking for some sort of like log to base your cooldowns off of or whatever, just make sure that you're looking at somebody who's lining up with what we do, especially for when we get towards P2. The ad set that we're eliminating is, like I said, the most difficult in the fight, but there are multiple ad sets that you will want to play your cooldowns around, and it will be helpful to kind of like look at lorgs or look at Warcraft logs and see what other people are doing for those sets. Other than that, it's not that different. We're still going to be using the same pylons and the same everything. The biggest difference in terms of how much room we'll have will be that we're not activating the shock coil first, so we won't be saving ourselves 2 extra big hit residual areas. But other than that, not too much crazy difference. For weak auras, all we're going to be doing is liquid. Obviously, we used it on the last fight. I said we're going to use it going forward. This does have the updated, what's it called? The updated count or order for what coins are being deposited, and then the interrupt anchor. We should all have this. If you don't, make sure it's downloaded. Also for the liquid weak aura, make sure you're updated to the most current version. And then a particle density toggle for Bandit. I know people had issues on this fight in Heroic, and we've had particle density things in the past help with frames. This I've heard is a big help, so if you are somebody who needs help with your frames, make sure you download this. Other than that, we're not going to be doing anything too crazy. There's no raid plan because the boss is kind of all in front of us. There's not a lot of movement. Only tanks really need to worry about the movement, and then other than that, it's a lot of baiting, a lot of standing in the right spot. So yeah, we'll just get started. First things first, we are going to make it a big point to always be baiting in the correct position. Coins are going to be coming out, and they're always baited at one ranged and one melee player. What that means is that it can be anyone, basically. So if we are standing off to the sides and we get bad coin baits, it really fucks us up. What we want to do is just center ourselves, and I'll give examples of this throughout the video, but center ourselves, make sure we're giving good baits. Spoopy's going to be taking care of this. Jolly will be backing up. And coins should be simplified. We see the coin baits go out straight to the back of the room. Exactly what we want. And then we see assistants come out. So this is going to be our order. It's going to be flame and coin first. Flame and coin is the big damage set. The set that in Heroic really hurts. In Mythic, it's going to hurt even worse. That's going to be where I want Vamp Embrace, AG, Personals, rally, probably even aura mastery, just to keep us up. There's a huge debuff that it gives you. It burns, hurts really fucking bad, but once we'll get there when we get there. The biggest change that we see right now is that these coins are being sent straight to the assistants. Reason being that assistants have a shield on them that can only be removed by the coin being sent straight through them. If the assistant doesn't get hit by the coin, it can't be dropped below 25%. So we have to make sure that the coins are sent straight through the assistants. The way that we want to do this to keep uptime on the coins and to kill the ads in the correct order is to send the coin at the first ad that we're going to kill. So in this case, the boss is pulled on top of the far right ad. Coin needs to be sent to the far right ad and then to the middle ad. Once we get our next set of pay lines, which are coming out right now, going to the back of the room, that next coin will be sent to the outside left. Boss is going to be moving over to the outside left, so it will line up perfectly and we'll get our pay line uptime when we get over there. If these coins don't hit the ads, we can't kill them. It's very bad. There's a few things that these ads kind of do differently or did in heroic, but weren't important enough to be covered. One of those things is that the cast cadence on the ads being slowed is very important because the ads are what sends withering flames out. So withering flames is the fire tornado debuff that we see Jeb have down here. This debuff is sent out by the ads. If we kill an ad quick enough, we can make sure that it does not get that cast off of the withering flames. You can see it right here. It's a 9-second cast timer on the next set. And also if we Curse of Tongues it. So Chan Curse of Tongues is super, super important on this fight. I know that it's an annoying ass button to press, so on every set won't be required. Like this first set shouldn't be a huge deal. But definitely try and feel it out and see which ones are really important, and if that ends up being all of them, But Curse of Tongues can save us a lot of damage, and the other thing about the ads that's very, very different is the casts. So the casts from the ads put a debuff on a person. They prioritize the person that they're targeting. So in this case, they're targeting once they get taunted, they should be targeting a tank. If you are targeted subsequently, like you get targeted multiple times in a row, every time that ad hits you with that lightning charge, the damage increases. So the damage will be affected by the debuff. It increases by, I'm not sure the percentage, but it increases by a significant amount. While the ads are alive, it's important that DPS who can do it, melee DPS, are taunting the ads to attack them rather than attacking the same person over and over again. So if you don't have any stacks of debuff, you just taunt the ad real quickly. It doesn't melee you or anything. It just will hit you with that targeted cast. Very important because the debuff increasing the damage on one person also does raid damage. It hurts quite a bit. So make sure that we're taking care of that. For the ads, that's mostly the biggest difference. Tanks in the majority of cases will be doing the same thing. I know I went back here. We're on the first set here. The first set and the second set, we will be starting on the furthest right ad. So if, for example, we were doing, because we're doing flame and coin here, if coin happened to be in the middle and flame happened to be on the right, we would go middle, or we would go middle, left, and then end up on the right, because on the first set, it doesn't matter anymore. We're just getting the debuff, or the fire suck debuff thing. So it's not that big of a deal where we end up. But on the second set, it is. We want to try and end up towards orange marker. Orange marker is going to be our spot where we drop the shock coil. That only matters so much, or that only matters on the second set. And then past that, there's a different reason to end up wherever you want to be. But on this set, starting on either side, ending on either side isn't really that big of a deal anymore because we're not doing anything with it. So we get our big AoE. Everybody in the raid pops a personal. They pop whatever they can. We stand in our protective thingies, where SLT, barrier, whatever. When we get our next set of pay lines, we always make sure that we're baiting towards the back of the room. Spoopy will go take care of these and he'll send them straight through the ads. Here we are popping our shocking coin, which is going to leave our pylon, which means that we're just going to stand still. We're going to try and pull our, or not stand still. We're going to pull the boss to the left, and then we're going to pull the boss to the center. Center will always catch the most cleave, so starting off in the center just wastes time and wastes efficient damage. So we start left, we deposit immediately, and then we go and we grab the center coin. We put the center coin in when we end up on the last ad. So on this set, we're dropping a pylon. The tank, here you can see pink dude. The tank that's dropping the pylon needs to make sure that they are on or as close to orange as possible. This is where we want that pylon to be. This is the shock pylon. All it does is suck us in. This is our friend. We're going to activate this multiple times throughout the fight to make sure that we save as much space as possible. Because if you don't know from Heroic, when you activate a pylon, it deletes 2 of these puddles from Big Hit. So this set's super easy. Again, first 2 sets of the fight should not be a big problem. The only thing that we really need to look out for are pay lines, Withering Flames, debuffs, and ad casts. That's about it. So we drop the second pylon, we get sucked, and then we just get our pay lines. The pay lines can be sent back to the boss. Thing to note about the pay lines is that when a coin goes out, it will put a stack on the raid, and each stack, so each coin that's out, increases the damage that the raid takes. We do not want the raid to be over 4 stacks. So here we see the coins are out. We're going to want to send them straight through to the assistants as quick as possible. And then once the assistant's shields are off, we're going to get another set of pay lines. We're going to send those out again, and just make sure that we're not getting too many stacks. Something that's interesting about Liquid's kill, which I'm not really sure why they did this, is they didn't click the coil, or the power coil, like the shock coin coil, to save more space in the room here. That's a very stark difference from what we're going to be doing. Every single time we go into spin the win, we're going to be pressing the coil. We're going to be eliminating 2 areas. We're going to be pressing this as often as possible. Every single time you get spin to win, so when you kill all the ads, the boss does its mechanic, and then it resets to spawn more assistants. It's going to activate each coil around the room. And in this case, we only have 1 coil. So if we click the shock coil before it activates it, or when it activates it, it's just going to do the same thing. So we're just using it because there's no reason not to. It's going to happen anyway, so why not press it? And we'll do that as often as we can in the fight. So here we see the next set of ads. I just rambled a little bit while the video was playing, but we see the next set of ads. The shock coil's done. They kill all the assistants, and they're going into the next set. Spin to win comes out. This is when we would click the coil. Coil would suck us in. We would eliminate 2 of the puddles on the ground, and then we get into our next set. Sorry, which is going to be this set. Let me double check so I'm not talking out of my ass. Flame and Bomb. Flame and Bomb just spawns some easy ads. Nothing really to do. You just rop them out. The only thing about these ads is that when they die, they do spawn tornadoes. Those tornadoes are really, really, really lethal, and they give like a fire circle around them. So we're going to see the ads come out here. They're going to spawn behind the boss, and we're going to try and keep them CC'd behind the boss. We're going to Vortex or whatever we have, use CC, and then our last thing to make sure that they don't come on top of the boss or they stay as far away from the boss as possible will be Ring of Peace. When these ads die and they spawn those big circles, they send out tornadoes. We prioritize killing the ads to a certain degree. Obviously, boss damage is still our priority here. Well, not obviously, but boss damage will always remain our priority because we're trying to push it as fast as possible. So we see the ads die. We get our pay lines. We kill the ads. They spawn tornadoes. Tornadoes in this fight, from whether it's from Withering Flames, whether it's from these ads, whether it's from the flame pylons, whatever it is, tornadoes will always spread out from their point of origination and then return to their point of origination. So we see these flames coming across the room, and then they're going to come back as long as they don't hit the outside of the room. When they come back, It's the same like movement. It's from the same place that they were originally there. So it's like if it's on a straight line, I'll pause it here. Like if a flame starts here, it's gonna go out like this, and then it's gonna come back on that same line. Just make sure that we're always paying attention to the withering flames. So they complete this mechanic, they kill the ads, the coin or the shock pylon goes off, and you can see here when they get spin to win. So after these ads die, spin to win happens now, and the pink dude tank comes out, clicks the shock pylon, and it starts to suck because it would have sucked them anyways, and it clears these two areas of the room. That's really important. I have the timers from Dratnos's raid for clicking the pylons for the tanks, so that should be pretty easy. It's a little bit sketchy with this overlap though. If we kill these ads too slow, we'll have to step back in to where these tornadoes are originating from and kill that ad if on like some unlucky occasions. So if coin spawns in the center, or just as an example, coin spawns in the center, shock spawns over here, and we need to kill shock, we would have to move out and be inside of this while the flames are returning. So we want to make sure those ads are dying as quick as possible to make sure that the tornadoes are basically done by the time we get back in. This is a really, really hectic timer in the fight, and it's like super important that everybody knows what's coming. So the way that it looks always is going to be ads die. Big circles come down, the giant big AoE circles. They send out tornadoes. While that's happening, the shock coil gets activated and we all get pulled in towards the shock coil. As that's happening as well, we get our assistant spawns. We need to make sure we're watching kicks, and coins need to be sent back into the assistant so that we can kill them. Lots of pay lines, lots of tornadoes, very like difficult timing of the fight. Once this is done, everything kind of chills out. Here we're doing shock and flame. Shock and flame is going to be the tornado pylon, and that's going to need to be spawned on pink dude all the way out here. We'll have markers in the raid. It's going to be a star marker, but it's going to be all the way out in Narnia, and we're about to see the reason why. But shock and flame spawns the shock flame pylon, the big tornadoes. Tornadoes are coming from across the room, and we're going to see how far the tornadoes go. They stop a little bit past the center of the room, and they spread out very like a lot, which makes the mechanic almost trivial. We don't really care too much about that shock and flame mechanic, because when that pylon is activated, these tornadoes that we see right here, just like this one and this one and this one, they barely interact with the raid. It's super simple as long as we get that thing out as far as possible. Something that I think I forgot to cover, and something that is extremely important that was not mentioned at the beginning of the video, and I should have mentioned it, is that the big hit is the tank mechanic. When the tank gets hit by the big hit, a ranged player will also get a a swirly underneath them. We see it here. Tobo gets a swirly, and that swirly means that you need to get the fuck out of the raid, because you're going to drop a puddle. We see it over here. Tobo gets out, he drops his puddle. That does not have a debuff. There's no like queue. It's hard to know exactly when that's happening. So you need to be paying really close attention to make sure that you're getting out with those. When the fight starts, we're going to get out this way. And then about halfway through, when we're at like 50%, this is going to get really, really full. Potentially, we might be able to clear enough to make it so that you can still go out this way. Right is our priority, but as a backup, you can always go left. Just to the back of the room. Back of the room is always your safe spot. And try not to stack these directly on top of each other. Like this spot would be perfect for somebody to stand in. Obviously not like based on the positioning, but just for an example, like right here, here, those are all fine. But range specifically can get targeted with a big hit, and it's a big problem if we don't make sure that it's out of the raid. We'll be using a lock gate to the back right of the room to make sure that this is easier to trivialize it. If you are somebody who takes the lock gate, like you get targeted, say this guy gets targeted and he goes out this direction, do not just place it on the lock gate. take the lock gate early and then move out somewhere along the wall, like over in the back, like against the back of the room. Um, don't just place it on the lock gate. It's really fucking bad. He also gets Withering Flames dispelled out there. That's going to be your best bet, is to just get the fuck out of the raid. Use Withering Flames. In the liquid pack, there is a... not sure I'm going to find it. No, I will find it. There's a macro that we're going to be pressing to tell the healers when we're ready to dispel. Maybe I can't find it. It's this. Okay, so it's a private aura. On the Withering Flames debuff, so you have to press a macro to activate it. You just press this macro when you're ready to get dispelled, you get out. This is not like the fucking spider webs on Broodkeeper. This isn't something that we can just YOLO. You have to be out, you have to be safe when you're ready to be dispelled. We need to use this. This is like imperative. Okay. Moving on. We do our... where were we? Yeah, we do our next set of debuffs after this is the Shock and Flame debuff that we just finish up. It gets spawned on the outside. Make sure that our big hits are out. Make sure that our payline coins are coming straight on top of the ads. Yeah, that's the basis of P1. Into the next set, we just get our spin to win. We activate the coil. We make sure our big hits are placed far outside of the room. And then on our last set of ads, we're getting the shock and bomb ads. So center and right here for them. They start on the right. They want to end up on the left here because that's our safe area. They kill shock and bomb. When shock and bomb die, we're going to get an ad set. We're going to have tornadoes going on throughout all of this, just for everybody to keep in mind. We get our last ad set. This is a pylon that spawns ads that the tanks are going to need to be perfect. The tanks are going to need to place at this spot in the room, at the front of the room, furthest away from the raid as possible. Boss is going to be phasing here. Pylon is going down. We're going to see this pylon spawn ads, this pylon suck, and then the pylon down here is going to give us tornadoes. We're so far to the left of the room that we will almost never have to interact with those tornadoes. This is a really bad puddle. This should have been clicked to make sure that they don't have to deal with it. These guys are so fucking good that they don't care. But for sure, when we're going into the P2, I 100% want my tank clicking this to remove some puddles, make sure we have as much space as possible. But you see all the pylons activate. We get the ad spawns. We start doing damage to the ads. And then this is the most important thing about P2. Our positioning here is to bait. We're baiting the pylon spawn that attaches a beam to a pylon to the boss. So ads come out, pylons all activate, and then we get a bait. They get a pretty good bait. For us, I'm going to want our positioning to be like kind of on this line as well. We're going to try and bait to this side of the boss. And then once the pylon comes out, we shift over here. And then we're going to try and bait our next pylon in the same spot, like this area. And then keep kiting back around the room. This is going to take a little bit of trial and error, but they spawn the pylon. They kill all the ads. They make sure the ads are CC'd. They make sure they die. They get pay lines. And then they spawn another coil in like a few seconds. The big hits are still coming out. Ranged are still getting targeted all throughout this. The coil spawns. They spawn it straight behind them. And they just keep kiting back and back and back. They would have a lot more space if this wasn't here. And they would have to dodge tornadoes less. So this would be our like bait here, dodge, or kite back. Bait here, kite back. And you're going to see that they have most of the raid like on the left side of the room, which is good. Just keep baiting the pylons, keep moving back, keep killing the ads, dodging tornadoes. This is just a mechanic vomit set, like part of the fight. Not really too much to understand other than dodge, bait, and don't forget about pay lines. One thing to note is that payline baits here are extremely important because we can send our paylines on accident into the bad shit. If we send our paylines into the bad shit, make sure that the people who are taking care of them, so Jolly and Spooby, are asking for help not in terms of like somebody to go get it for them, but asking for an external to make sure that you can go get it. Make sure that our baits are to the front of the room. We're always trying to bait this way and then kiting back. We'll get progressively further towards the back of the room. And yeah, I mean, other than that, like in P2, we get the coils activated periodically by the boss, so we get sucked, we get tornadoes, we dodge. We're baited on baiting pay lines and baiting coils. That's pretty much it. There may have been a few things I missed, so there may be some things to go over, but this should cover pretty much everything. If you want the order to our strategy, I'll be posting my notes in Discord. If you want any extra feedback on any mechanic, just contact me, ask me a question. For tanks, I'll be sitting down and having a separate conversation with you guys about more like the specific movement. But yep, that's pretty much it. I'll see everybody on Tuesday. Good luck.